Hi, my name is Daniela, and I'm doing a closed reading on a word problem, which is an application of a system of linear equation. So, looking at our problem, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and read it completely and then go back and dissect it. So, this is our problem. In Super Bowl I on January 15, 1967, the Green Bay Packers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs by a score of 35-10. The total points scored came from a combination of touchdowns, extra point kicks, and field goals worth 6, 1, and 3 points respectively. The number of touchdowns and extra point kicks were equal. There were 6 times as many touchdowns as field goals. Find the number of touchdowns, extra point kicks, and field goals scored. So, looking at this problem, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and look at what it's asking us. And it's asking us to find the number of touchdowns, extra point kicks, and field goals scored. This is our main goal. Then we go ahead and go back to the top and dissect sentence by sentence. So our first sentence is in Super Bowl I on January 15th, 1967, the Green Bay Packers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs by a score of 35-10. There's a lot of relevant information to the real world. However, the only part of the sentence that's relevant to our number of touchdowns, extra point kicks, and field goals scored is the score. Everything else is additional information that is added for the word problem but is not needed to solve our word problem. Then we go on to the second sentence, which is the total points scored came from a combination of touchdowns, extra point kicks, and field goals worth 6, 1, and 3 points respectively. This has a lot of information. I have touchdowns, extra point kicks, field goals, worth, and I'm talking about total points scored. In order to dissect the sentence, we need to assign variables to make sure we stay on track. So then we assign X to touchdowns, Y to extra point kicks, and Z to field goals. Now, using these variables, I know my worth for my touchdowns is 6. So that's going to be 6x. My worth for my extra point kicks is 1, so it's going to be 1y. And my worth for my field goals is 3, so it's going to be 3z. This equals the total points, but how do I come up with my total points? Then I go back to my first sentence where it says the score of 35-10. This is not the total score. It's the points from one team and the points from the other team. However, to get the total points scored, I have to add these two. So then I would get 45. That's how we get our first equation, which is 6x plus 1y plus 3z equals 45. This equation is the translation of the first two sentences. Then we go over to the next sentence, which is the number of touchdowns and extra point kicks are equal. Well, I assigned X to touchdowns and Y to extra point kicks. So the translation to this would be Y equals X, or X equals Y. Then I go to the next sentence, which is there were 6 times as many touchdowns as field goals. Well, how do I write this verbally? Well, my touchdowns were X and my field goals were Z. Well, there's 6 times as many touchdowns as field goals, so the translation to the sentence would be X equals 6Z. And we get our third equation. From these sentences, we were able to translate to 3 equations, each variable representing the touchdown, extra point kicks, and field goals scored. Now we have dissected this problem completely, and all we have left to do is the mathematical process.